Chelsea fans, what a weekend of football. How good does it feel to be the first game of the Premier League played, picking up 3 points with a good performance, cementing third place for at least another week, and then watching Man City lose 4-0 to Tottenham, so we are only a point behind. I'm going to be honest, it feels real good. There were some good things and bad things within this performance, so in this video I'm going over 5 things that we learned from Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. Did you know that 90% of the people watching this video right now are currently not subscribed to the channel? So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. Make sure you join the community and let's get into the video. The first thing that I want to talk about is Robert Sanchez. He is such a concern. Now, this isn't a video where I'm just going to bash Robert Sanchez for the sake of it because he had very little to do against Leicester. And that is a good thing because the small amount that he was involved, he was giving Chelsea fans a heart attack. He really, really was. His distribution is so questionable. The amount of times he put our players under pressure for no reason, it just baffles me how he is Chelsea's number one. Now, yes, he did punch away a few corners, come and collect a few crosses. Granted, it's the bare minimum you expect from your goalkeeper. But he just gives Chelsea fans such anxiety. It's just incredible how he's our number one. He did concede a penalty. Now, normally, I would say when you're conceding a penalty, you can't really blame the goalkeeper too much. It's heavily in the attacker's favour, right? You more, look at the attacker if they miss and go, well, they should have scored. It's a penalty. But in this instance, it was such a weak hand to that penalty that I honestly feel like he could have done better. Now, I'm not asking for Robert Sanchez to turn into Petr Cech overnight. We understand that Enzo Maresca is fully invested, fully backing Robert Sanchez to be Chelsea's number one. And he has shown signs of brilliance throughout this season. But he's also shown a lot of signs of just not being good enough, whether it is his distribution, decision-making, some of the saves are questionable, conceding at your near post, positioning in general. There was a time where a set piece came in from Leicester and Robert Sanchez completely missed the ball and tried playing it off like he knew what he was doing, when if you really look at it, he misjudged the entire jump and was like, thank God that wasn't going anywhere near a Leicester player, and it's gone out for a goal kick. He's just a concern. A lot of Chelsea fans want to see Jorgensen. We just want another goalkeeper between the sticks. And I'm thankful that Chelsea played well enough that Leicester didn't really get too much of a chance to really cause concern throughout the game, and Robert Sanchez didn't really have much to do. The first 25 minutes going into 30 minutes of the first half, I don't think Leicester really got into our half, unless it was a clearance. Like, it was Robert Sanchez, what must have been cold, standing there for a long time, so I kind of give him that. But throughout the game, when he was involved, he stresses me out. The second thing that I want to talk about is Benoit Badiashile. Now, if you guys follow me on TikTok or you've watched some of the videos on this channel, you will know I am not Benoit Badiashile's biggest fan, and I personally don't think he is good enough to play for Chelsea. I don't understand how he's a professional footballer. He is so inconsistent, always has a mistake in him, and again, he's another player that just gives Chelsea fans a heart attack for literally no reason. However, against Leicester, he turned into like prime Antonio Rudiger. He was incredible, and I have to give him flowers. I'm always fair in that sense that I will give credit where it's due. Benoit Badiashile was absolutely fantastic today, and he didn't put a foot wrong. He cleared things when needed to be. He intercepted a lot. He was driving forward with the ball, made some good line-breaking passes. Fair play to Benoit Badiashile, because if he can perform like that on a consistent basis, then yes, he should be playing for our first team. The problem is he's very inconsistent, and you never know what you're going to get when Benoit Badiashile turns up. Now, for a lot of Chelsea fans, myself included, the main concern with Badiashile was after that first 6 or 7 games he played for Chelsea, he looked like a Rolls-Royce defender, and then he got injured, and he's not really been the same since. And yes, he's young. You're going to give him time to learn and adapt, and a new manager, new system. I understand that. But if this is the new standard of Badiashile going forward, I am all for it. He played incredible today. He deserves his flowers. Fair play, Benoit Badiashile. Number 3 is actually 2 players. It is Cucurella and Caicedo, because they were both incredible. And I'm genuinely running out of words for both of the players. Cucurella stayed high and wide, and he defended perfectly today. He didn't let anyone get a sniff, anyone get in behind. He was fantastic. Not only with his passing, with joining the attack, with overlapping. Defensively, he was sound. He was covering players when needed. He just kept a lot of the Leicester players very quiet, and it goes to show that this guy's been on a consistent run of form for almost a calendar year now. He really has paid back that £50 million price tag, in my opinion. He is Chelsea's best left-back, and I genuinely think he is up there for maybe top 3 best defenders, if not the best left-back in the Premier League currently on form. And when it comes to Moises Caicedo, what more can you say about this absolute machine? He did a lot of the dirty work. He was very clean in what he was doing in the recoveries. The passing range was great. He was supporting Enzo Fernandez in that partnership very, very well. He came back and helped the defence when needed. The clearances were on point. Everything he did was perfect. And again, he did a lot of the dirty work. He kept Leicester from countering on us. He kept their press back. He did an outstanding job. I'm genuinely running out of words. He is the best DM in the league currently. And you know that Cucurella and Caicedo are performing at a very high level consistently, because now rival fans are starting to go, oh, Cucurella is a really good left back, and oh, Caicedo's been performing very well for a little while now. And that's when you know that when rival fans start to notice it, that's when you know they've been playing well for such a long time. Number 4 is Enzo Fernandez. This guy was unbelievable. He's almost unplayable today. He got a goal and an assist, which takes his GA in the last 5 games to 7. This guy has really found some form. He was, again, one of the best players on the pitch. He did get man of the match. I think that there was a couple of players that could have got man of the match, but it was well deserved for Enzo Fernandez. A great goal for that second goal, just to kind of make a great run, to be there at the right time, good header, cushioned it into the net. And it's so good to see. It's so good to see that Enzo Fernandez is finally finding his feet, getting a run of form, and how long may it continue? Because I genuinely think the Caicedo-Enzo double pivot can work, even though in the past it's been horrendous at times, it's been good at times, it's been very inconsistent. It's slowly falling into place. And if that is a solid double six pairing that has a lot of flexibility in terms of who can go forward and push forward and stay back, going wider, coming into the central areas. I like Enzo Fernandez. He is a world-class footballer, and for a long time, Chelsea fans have been screaming out for a performance like that. Now, you can say, oh, it's against Leicester or a newly promoted side. You can only play who's in front of you. And it's only good for Fernandez to build up some confidence. The assist for Nicholas Jackson's goal, again, very instinctive, getting up, bullying with the, being involved with the defence while we were attacking, getting right up in there with Jackson to just poke that ball through, nicely weighted. Jackson does the rest. We'll talk about Jackson in just a second. From Enzo Fernandez, it was an all-round fantastic performance and a well-deserved man of the match. And before we get into the 5th and final thing that we learned against Leicester 1, Chelsea 2, I have 2 honourable mentions, and the first one being no clean sheet. Now, this one isn't necessarily the be-all and end-all, because at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. We're third in the table and a point behind Manchester City currently. And that is incredible to be right now in the stage of the season compared to where we were last season. However, this should have been a game where it was like 2-3, 4-0 and we kept a clean sheet. But Chelsea doing Chelsea things right at the last of the game, giving away a silly penalty that Sanchez didn't save. And I spoke about that earlier in the video. It just seemed a bit deflating, like, okay, no, another game where we don't keep a clean sheet. We always seem to concede every single game, whether it's 1, whether it's 2, whether it's more than that. And we are winning a lot more than we are losing and drawing, granted. But it'd be very nice to see them clean sheets start coming in. We've had a couple this season. It would just be nice to get a lot more on a consistent basis when we are playing teams that we should be getting 3 points from. Now, I understand that we got 3 points, and again, happy with that. But just highlighting that it's a game where we could have and should have had a clean sheet. And the second honourable mention is Enzo Maresca got things right. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. He took a lot of Chelsea fans by surprise with his starting 11. However, he did mention a few things in his press conference that the players that start aren't going to be 100%. He's going to have to fine-tune some things against Leicester because they know exactly how we play. And he's going to experiment with people like João Felix and Cole Palmer in the same team. And I'm going to be honest, Enzo Maresca got it completely right. When me on the watch along and some other creators that I talked to looking at that starting 11, we were like, this is interesting. We like it, it's strong, but it's interesting to see how this plays and how fluid it can be. Obviously, we had the introduction of Benoit Badiashile for Fana playing right back, and there was no inverting during the game. We kept our fullbacks high and wide. And it was just a very interesting mix-up of players. And I think it performed very well. I think Enzo Maresca got things spot on because Leicester didn't know how to deal with us. I feel like João Felix and Palmer played very well together. That first half, they were frightening. Absolutely frightening. So fluid going forward. And if João Felix had just a little bit more of a finishing skill, it could have been a lot more. But overall, Enzo Maresca got this spot on. I think his selection was great. Even though it took us by surprise, it goes to show that he can adapt and change things when needed, because his biggest criticism is he doesn't have a plan B. He's very stubborn. He does plan A and that's it. There's no changes. And I feel like he tried giving people minutes as well. We saw Nkunku come on. We saw Sanchez get 5 or 6 minutes. Like, I feel like Enzo Maresca is doing all the right things. And yesterday was a good example of game management. He set things up differently because he believed in the players. He knew that they could do things. He did his homework. He was at Leicester last season, and he had most of, if not all of this team from last season. So I think he did very well to kind of overcome that, because it could have been very much our old manager goes back to old club and gets beaten, or that type of thing where it almost seems written in the stars. But he did incredibly well with a fresh lineup, slightly different sort of system and changes, and we got the 3 points, so fair play. And lastly, number 5, Nicholas Jackson has become very clinical. What a performance from Nicholas Jackson. Now again, you could say, oh, we're playing Leicester, we should be getting the 3 points, blah, blah, blah. This season, Nicholas Jackson is genuinely a transformed player, and he has worked on the areas of his game that Chelsea fans, rival fans, pundits, the whole footballing world berated him with last season, and that is he wastes too many chances. And this season, he's become very, very clinical. He's had a lot less chances and scored more goals at this stage of this season than he did last season. He's not just scoring goals, he's also getting assists. He's bringing all of these areas and types of play into the game, every single game consistently, and it's very easy to see why Enzo Maresca really likes Nicholas Jackson. I personally think that Jackson's top 3 strikers in the league right now, and I don't think there's a lot that you could say otherwise to say he isn't. Some people are saying outside of Haaland, he is the best striker in the league. If he continues this way this season, yeah, I totally agree, because I think the only person that's scored more goals in the last 18 months in the Premier League is Erling Haaland. Jackson is doing very, very well, but it's becoming very, very evident. His finishing is improving, and he's becoming more clinical with less chances. The goal, we have to talk about the goal. The way he bullied the defender, that defender, kept chasing the danger down, forced the defender to make an error. Enzo with a lovely little assist to put it right through where Jackson wanted it. And the little deft touch that people seem to be overlooking, how crucial that is to that goal. A little touch to go over the other defender's foot and plant it up for that outside of the boot shot into the far corner. It's just a very, very well-worked goal, and a typical centre-forwards goal. We're starting to see Jackson score more goals, like I said, being more clinical, but more centre-forward number 9 style goals, and it was a prime example of why you have to back Nicholas Jackson. At this point, if you're not backing Nicholas Jackson, I genuinely question why. He's just been so good this season. Those are the 5 things plus some honourable mentions that we learnt from Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. Do you agree with my list? Have I missed anything out? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love having a conversation with you guys. Chelsea currently sit 3rd in the Premier League, a point behind Manchester City, so the next few weeks are going to be very, very interesting, and it's an exciting time to be a Chelsea fan. I do want to say a massive thank you to all the love and support you guys have been giving this channel. The community has grown so rapidly recently, and I really do appreciate it. If you made it this far through the video, there'll be a thumbnail on the screen. If you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.